What's up, guys? I'm Mike from StockedUp, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have some awesome information for everyone in today's video. We're going to be talking about SPCE, the market overall, and what's going on in the political environment right now and how that affects the markets. And then also we're going to be talking about these recent IPOs with Airbnb and DoorDash and how they're going pretty crazy right now. And at the end of the video, we have a $5.5 million options trade for the rest of this week, which is looking to be pretty solid right now. So make sure you guys stick around to the end of this video. And also, don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Tom and I post brand new videos every single day. But with that being said, Tom, what happened in the stock market today?
Just like we had talked about, those problems that SPCE had with their initial test flight launch ended up becoming a big problem for the stock this morning, and they're down 16%, which is not, a pretty far number. I would have expected them to come down, around this, just given what happened. Obviously, whenever you have to abort a test flight because of an engine malfunction, that's a pretty big issue, especially whenever you're trying to send people into space. So, it doesn't sound very safe. But other than that, the NASDAQ actually did pretty well today. Even though the whole market is in the S&P 500, it ended up falling. And you can see at the end of the day here, it even had a big red candle and ticked way lower on the futures here. So it looks like the S&P is getting hit really hard, but the NASDAQ is actually holding itself up.
For sure. So historically in December, stocks tend to do pretty well, but it is 2020 and everything's crazy this year. So we are very close to all-time highs right now. And I feel like, there's a couple different scenarios that can play out for the next couple weeks. But it looks like we're kind of struggling to break those all-time highs. And, with the political news going on right now, and, I'm not feeling too hot about the market right now to the upside. What do you think?
Yeah, and then there's even some more news that came out that could even affect some of the biggest stocks in the market, like Amazon and Facebook. The FTC orders them both and other companies to explain how they collect and use personal data. And I know a lot of people are worried about their data, and I know people, they just really look at that data as a form of security. And I know that lately there's been a lot of talk and a lot of things coming out about how these companies use data, obviously against your will, and pretty much they like impose things on you using the data that they collect and different things like that. So, it's really looking like that they might start having some restrictions on some of these social media companies and companies like Amazon that post ads and different things like that.
Gotcha. Actually, it was the other week where Apple, didn't they just make like an announcement or an update that they're going to be improving people's privacy? So it's definitely something interesting to note. What else happened in the market today?
Yeah, actually, a bipartisan group plans to release a $908 billion aid legislation today, but lingering disagreements over state and local government aid, liability protections, and direct payments could make reaching a deal still a challenge, CNBC reports. So obviously, there's going to be another bill coming into play here. The Republicans had their bill, the Democrats had their bill, and now a bipartisan group is going to release a bill. And then now they're going to probably try to edit that bill and make changes to that. So just keep in mind that there's going to be even more movement going on as the S&P almost looks like it's about to turn off and head back to the downside here on this daily chart.
Gotcha. So what's going on with DoorDash and Airbnb? I know that both of these stocks actually had a ton of hype around them last week, but what's going on this week?
Yeah, they're actually both falling down. And this is a pretty big surprise to investors that did not realize the pre-IPO run-up the morning of both of these IPOs. And really, these stocks ran up 100% plus before you could even trade them. So now they're starting to fall back down. And you can see that Airbnb has fallen from a high of 165 all the way down to a low now of around 125. And let me get the percentage on that. It looks like it's about 23%. So that's not good news if you ended up buying at the top of Airbnb or even somewhere in the middle. Even if you're down 15% on this as an investor, that's pretty bad off the first 3 days whenever you were expecting to get in on that 100% run up that happened in the morning.
Well, IPOs are extremely volatile, so some people would say you have to kind of expect crazy movement like this. And, we've seen a lot of different movement from IPOs in 2020. Some stocks IPO tank and then just skyrocket up, while like each IPO is different, and they're all volatile though. So you kind of have to expect it, but it's definitely some good stuff to note. So let's get right into our Discord member of the day. Today's member of the day is SIMP, and we just wanted to give a huge shout out to him for always being a very positive member of the Discord chat, being super active, and always helping new members. Overall, a very positive person. So we just wanted to give a huge shout out to him today. But let's get right into today's momentum plays. And the first one is AMD to the upside. This stock is skyrocketing.
Yeah, make AMD pass above 95.40, which was pretty much the high of today. And yeah, you can see how much they're running up today.
Gotcha. With the next play, we have PFE, and this one is potentially to the downside.
Yeah, wow, they're really going down today. Pfizer, nobody expected this with that vaccine going on. Make them fall below 339.
I think a big reason for this is it was just flat out overhyped. We saw there was a huge run up in anticipation of all this great Pfizer news we're seeing. Pfizer can definitely still go up, but in the short term, I just think it was way too overhyped. Pfizer went from about $37 all the way up to $43 in like 2 weeks. You know, it's just it went up too fast and too quickly. With the next play, we have QCOM.
Qualcomm, make them go ahead and pass above 148.
All right, and then we have TTCF.
TTCF, make them go ahead and pop above 2065.
All right, so we are eyeing AMD, Qualcomm, and TTCF all to the upside, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. And we are eyeing PFE potentially to the downside if they can break below the levels Tom listed. But let's get right into the unusual options activity for tomorrow. And we are looking at the Netflix 530 strike calls that expire this Friday. And there was about $5.5 million put into this play. Obviously, that's a substantial amount of money. Netflix is setting up pretty good. They were bouncing off that $475 support. I kind of like this play. What do you think?
Yeah, I love that support down there around 475. That's an awesome level where they've bounced off of it about 5 times now, and they're passing above the 100 SMA and popping today, which is awesome. And they're actually filling the gap back up from whenever they had this small gap down here. So there's just a lot of good things lining up for them. And also, if there's also more restrictions and stuff like that start coming out, that would also be very good for Netflix, at least in the short term. So they would obviously be popping off that news as well.
True, and they're only about $7 to $8 out of the money, these options, which is not bad at all, especially for a stock as volatile as Netflix. It has about a 45% implied volatility, and then also, Netflix is setting up pretty good on the chart. So, and it's only Monday too, so it looks like the setup is pretty decent. I'll definitely be eyeing this for the rest of the week. But let's get right into our questions from the previous episode. We have Rich saying, let's lock and load and get ready for this week to make some money. I'll be watching SPCE, BABA, and NEO. So, Tom, what do you think of SPCE for this week?
Yeah, for this week, it's actually looking pretty bearish for SPCE. It looks like a pretty bad play to the downside. They moved off the 1,000 SMA today as they tried to pop back up at open, and that was probably just a lot of people taking profits on shorts right there. But other than that, I think the SPCE is actually going to keep falling this week. I could see them potentially coming down to this low around 23, which was the low on that first pre-market candle. That obviously sometimes that pre-market candle gets a little bit misskewed, but I would think that 23 could be a pretty realistic number for the end of the week, especially given, the type of thing that happened to them. And also technically, I would just make them fall below the $26 level, which posed as a pretty good level in pre-market this morning. So if we break below 26, I think that could be a pretty good trade.
All right, and then BABA.
Yeah, they're looking pretty bearish as well. I like this on the daily chart as well to the downside. It looks like they're going to actually start falling off. I would look for them to maybe bounce off this bottom support around 250, 250. But other than that, I think if they break below that, it could really keep running. It looks like they have a long way to go. And another problem is that a lot of these Chinese stocks have had a lot of bad news lately. So if that news keeps coming out and we keep having some stuff going on with China as far as these tech companies go, then I think that could hurt them. And also they got hurt in China as well whenever their Ant Group stuff got denied on the Shanghai market.
True. And then the last one was Neo. And looking at Neo, if you like this stock for the long term, you might have a good opportunity to enter pretty soon. We can see that they're around $40 right now, and they hit highs of around 57. So if you do like Neo for the long term, now might not be a bad time to maybe start averaging in. No one knows the bottom. But if you do like it for the long term, it might be a pretty good setup. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good time to start averaging. You're about $20 off from the top, like you said, so that's a pretty good margin, to go back to the upside. And also, Neo is going to keep growing. They're estimated to keep having more deliveries year over year, and I think it's just a fantastic company, especially in China, where they have a humongous marketplace with billions of people there.
True. And then we have Grad saying, I'm stocked up on Moderna and Pfizer, hoping for a good week. So I know Pfizer definitely didn't have the best day, but Moderna's not doing too bad. They're actually kind of consolidating between that, what is that, the 150 and you could say 150, 165 level, maybe even 170. What do you think about Moderna?
I think it's pretty good. I'm pretty neutral on it over the next few days. I think it's going to be pretty good for the long term, but it is trading below this resistance up here around 165. That's the only worry I have.
Gotcha. And then we both know Pfizer definitely isn't having the best day. But if this person is holding for the long term, then it can be good. But in the short term, I think it's just a coin flip.
Yeah, and it looks like they're almost double topping around their long term high around 44. They got pretty close around 43.
True. With the next question, we have Whitney saying, what do you think about Snap? It's running and hitting new highs every day. So let's take a look at Snap. I think it looks pretty good for a pullback. What do you think, Tom? Actually, if we look at an intraday chart, it's actually tanking to end the day, which is a pretty good sign for anyone who is short this stock. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. It's actually bouncing right off the 200 SMA, and you can see it hit that intraday, pulled back to the upside, and now it's hitting below it. And you can see it actually came up slightly after it crossed below and just had a nice little touch on it. And now we're starting to pull back down, and that'd be awesome to see, especially if we could somehow come down to like the 50/50 or $50 level. That would be an awesome move up for Snap for tomorrow. And I think that it's a pretty good level right now, because if you break below the $51 support down here, then I think we could see a lot of movement to the downside.
Awesome. Now, I just want to make a quick little announcement. Thank you guys so much for everyone who leaves a comment on the video. There's so many of you guys who just leave small comments for the algorithm, or just small comments, very positive comments. So I just want to give a brief little thank you so much to everyone who comments. It really helps grow our channel. And now let's get right back into the questions. With the next question, we have Sam saying, hey guys, love the content. What are your thoughts on FSLY to the upside? Looks like it keeps hitting resistance at $100. Can it break out? Well, let's take a look at this. It does look like it's trending pretty nice. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I really see what he's saying with that $100 level being a pretty good resistance. It looks like it's hit off of that a couple times, possibly even the $101 level. So go ahead and watch for it to break above that. I think until we break above that, though, I'm going to be pretty bearish on it.
Good stuff. Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys want to trade the same options as Tom and I every single day and get access to the order flow bot and get access to the machine learning bot, you can click the Stocked Up Options Alerts link in the description down below. And if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel already, don't forget to subscribe. Tom and I post brand new videos every single day. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.